Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'm going to be doing a complete walkthrough of all of the new Safari features in iOS 15. Now Safari has received quite a major update in iOS 15 and it brings many new features including a new customizable start page, a completely redesigned interface for working with tabs, a new tab bar, a completely new way of organizing your tabs in the form of tab groups, a new voice search functionality, as well as the ability to install and use web extensions for the first time within Safari on iOS. So those are the things I'm going to cover in this video. So I'm going to open Safari now, and the first thing you're greeted with is the new start page. Previously all you really had was your favorites and that was about it. However, now you'll see we've got this new edit button, and if I tap that I'll be taken to the options that I can configure for customizing my start page. Now this will be somewhat familiar to anyone who's used Safari in macOS Big Sur, which has had this feature for a year now, but we finally got it on iOS. So at the top we've got the option to use Start Page on all devices. So this will basically mean that whatever changes I make over here will be reflected on any Macs I've got, and as well as any iPads. So if I want a consistent browsing experience, then I can choose that. Or if I want an individual experience on each device, then I can switch that option off at the top, and each device's start page will remain separate. Below that I've got a load of sections that I can turn on or off. So by default we have favorites turned on. However, I've got all these other options that I can choose from. So I'll turn on perhaps frequently visited, maybe Siri suggestions I'll have on, iCloud tabs, privacy reports, and we've got a couple of these other two options which I'll leave off, but we've got reading list and as well as shared with you. Now shared with you is quite a nice feature where Safari will basically go through your messages and pick out any links that have been sent to you and present them in one place, so you don't have to go and hunt for them yourself later on. So that's quite nice if you often get people send links to you that you like to retrieve later on. And obviously I can rearrange these sections if I want to. Perhaps if I want the privacy report further up, I can move that up. And maybe I want the iCloud tabs a bit further up as well, so I can rearrange the order. Next we have an option to set a background image. If I turn that on and scroll down, you can see I've got a load of preset backgrounds that I can choose from, so I can pick any of these, or I can tap on the plus icon, which will launch my photo library, and from here I can just choose any background that I want. So I downloaded this image the other day and I can just tap on that, and that's now my Safari background. I can just hit the X in the top right hand corner and I'll be taken back to my start page, which has now been customized to how I wanted it. So you can see I've got my sections, I've got my favorites, my privacy report, as well as my iCloud tabs, and that's all that I've got here at the moment. But obviously you'll see whatever you chose in the customization options. Next we have voice search, which is quite self-explanatory and is very simple to use. If I look in the redesigned address bar at the bottom, which I'll get to in just a moment, you'll notice that we've got a little microphone icon, and all I have to do is tap that and then say what I want to search for. So this can be a URL or just a search term that can then be put into whatever your default search engine is. So let me try that now. Apple.com, and you'll see straight away, without even having to tap done or do anything else, once I've said what I want to search for, it automatically completes the search for me. Now let's get onto the address bar, just like I mentioned. So you'll notice that it's now at the bottom rather than at the top, and this has been designed so that you can use the search bar with one hand better if you're using a larger iPhone. Now you can move this back to the top if you want to by simply tapping on these two A's to the left of the search bar, and then once you've done that you can see at the top we have show top address bar. So if I tap that, it moves back to the top just as it was previously in iOS 14. However, I'm going to bring it back to the bottom because I do prefer it. And another thing that you can do is you can now pull to refresh. So if I just pull down, just like in lots of other apps, you can now pull down to refresh a web page. So you've got a bit of consistency between various apps that you might use. Now I'll take a look at how you can interact with tabs and the new tab view. So you can access all your tabs in the traditional way using the button in the bottom left corner. But what you can also do now is you can put your finger on the address bar and you can swipe up on it and pause for a second, and you'll enter the new tab view. So if I do that now, you can see we've got this new view. So I've only got one tab open at the moment, but what I can do is just use the bottom left button and just tap that, and I've now created a new tab. We've got my start page here, and let me just go to another website. And one of the great things is, with this compact UI at the bottom for the tab bar, is that you can swipe between your different open tabs by swiping your finger on the address bar. So if I do that now, I can just swipe between both the open tabs I've got, and if I'm at the end of my tabs, I can swipe again from right to left to open a new one. So that's a nice simple way of opening a tab quickly, and it's great with one hand. So let me just go back into my tab view like I did earlier, and you can see I've got my grid of tabs, and at any point I can just swipe a tab closed. So let's take this Apple tab and just swipe that closed, and now that's gone. And if I want to access my private tabs, all I have to do is go to the bottom where it says 2 tabs, tap on that, and then I've got an option just below for private. So if I tap that, I go into private browsing mode, and then I can tap again to go back to my standard tabs. And finally at the top we've got search tabs, so I can just tap to search. If I've got lots of tabs open and I want to find a specific one, then I can do so, and I can tap and hold on the cancel to then give the option to close both tabs, which I can do, and then it will shut everything down. So that's a quick way of doing that if you've got lots of things you want to have shut. Next up, I'm going to talk about tab groups. Now, as the name suggests, this is just a way of grouping multiple tabs into various groups that you can keep separate from each other. So to access tab groups, all you've got to do is go back into your tab view, and at the bottom you can see where it says start page. If I tap on that, I'll be taken to my list of tab groups. So I've got start page private, and then below that I've already created a tab group. This is just called Apple, and if I just tap on that, you can see I'm now into my Apple tab group, and I've got a couple of Apple web pages and a new tab at the bottom. And if I want to create a new tab group, all I have to do is go back to this tab group menu and tap on new empty tab group at the bottom. I'm going to name this one Cars. So I've named that Cars, and tap save, and I'm launched immediately into that tab group. Now if I go back to my tab group menu for a moment, you'll see we have an edit button at the top. So if I tap on that, I've got the option to tap on the 3 dots next to each tab group, which gives me the option to either delete it, I can rename it, or I can copy the links of all the open tabs that are open within that group. And if I use the lines to the right, I can use those to sort of rearrange the tab groups into whatever order I'd like. But let me just tap done, and I'll go back into my Cars tab group, and I can open, say, Auto Trader. I'll create a new tab, and I'll open this BMW website as well. So I've got a couple of my tabs here in my tab group, and I can at any point go and switch back to my Apple tab group. Let me go to the start page and show you another nice feature with tab groups, and that's the ability to send links to a specific tab group. So this works for any link within Safari. I'm just going to use one of the favorites on my start page for this demonstration. Let's say, for example, I want to launch the Euro Car Parts website, but I'm currently in my Apple tab group. All I have to do is I have to tap and hold on the link, and you'll see I've got an option open in tab group. If I tap on that, I can then select which tab group I want this tab to be opened in. So I can tap my Cars one, and this tab is now opened, and if I go to my tab view, you can see we've now switched to the Cars tab group that I created just now. So that's a nice time-saving feature. And the final major feature in Safari in iOS 15 is the ability to install and use web extensions within Safari. So this is the first time that we can do this. To manage this, all you have to do is go into your settings. So if I go home and launch settings and scroll down to my Safari settings and tap on those, and all I have to do is scroll down a bit, you'll see I've got an option for extensions. All I have to do is tap on that, and at the moment I haven't got any extensions installed, but what I can do is tap on more extensions, and this will launch the App Store, and there's a dedicated part of the App Store which is for Safari extensions. So you can see we've got a few that are already kind of loaded up on the App Store, but there'll obviously be more added as developers create extensions and make them available within the App Store. So it's just a case of tapping whichever one I want and tapping on Get, and then just installing it just like you'd install an app. And then if I go back to settings, they'll all start appearing on this screen here, and I can manage them in that way. And then within Safari, I can access them from my share menu, just like you would access any other sort of sharing options within Safari. Now quickly, I'm just going to go back one page in the settings and show you another new part, which is just the ability here to change the view. So I can change the address bar view like that I showed you earlier. So from here I can change whether I want the address bar at the bottom, or whether I want to have single tab mode and have it back at the top, like with iOS 14. We have landscape tab bar, so now you can have it so that if you're in landscape on your iPhone, you will be able to have a tab bar just like you can on an iPad. We've got website tinting, so this is basically where the top part of the Safari window, so this area around the notch at the top of the screen, will change colour to match whatever the background of the website is. So you can turn that on or off depending on whether you like the look of it or not. And then we've got a couple of new options for opening links and closing tabs, so we can choose to open links in new tabs. We've also got options for closing tabs, so we can manually close our tabs, or we can have them automatically get closed after 1 day, 1 week, or 1 month. So that's quite useful if you're someone who tends to collect a lot of tabs that you no longer need. But that's basically everything in Safari in iOS 15. It is quite a major update, probably one of the biggest updates that Safari has had in the last few years. But that's it for this video. If you found this video helpful, then please do hit the thumbs up button, and if you've got any questions or comments, then do leave them in the comment section of the video. Please do also consider subscribing, and remember to hit the notification bell and set your preferences to all, that way you'll get notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.